everyone. I wanted you to have the chance to meet Ralph and Gayle Kipnis. Theirs is a very interesting story about West Side Chicago meeting North Side Chicago. I hope you enjoy it. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Here we go. I look forward to you spending the time that I have got to spend here with Gayle and Ralph Kipnis. How you guys doing?
Good.
All right.
How are you?
Oh my God, I'm fantastic. Here's my first question for you. Ralph, I don't know how you developed this incredible.
I don't know.
I don't know how you've got this incredible ability, but you're the only person I know that you and I could be having a conversation before services, and the minute services start, boom, you're out of sleep. How did you develop that incredible ability to fall asleep just like that the minute we start services, or in particular my sermon? Go ahead.
I think basically it's the sound of your voice. I think it's so intense that as soon as you say something, it really puts me to sleep. It reminds me when I was a little child, you know.
He did the same thing in school.
Well, see, I thought I was going to ask you, why did you join Hakafah? But I figured it out was that you must have really bad insomnia. And Gayle, you must have figured the best way to get him to sleep every so often was to come to service. I know when you show up on Friday nights, he must not be sleeping and you're going crazy, Gayle.
No, I'm just used to it. He does the same thing at home. We love him. That's why
Oh, it's mutual. That's why I can start with that. So I just, I really wanted people to get to know you because I think the two of you are fantastic and you do nothing but crack me up. So,
oh, thank you.
So in all seriousness, I want to start with just talking about why it is. So you came to Hakafah about 4 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. Were you a member of a synagogue prior to that?
Years ago, our daughters went to Beth Hillel, were bat mitzvah there.
Yeah, no, I thought so. So after not being members yourselves for a while, what motivated you to join? And it's less about how much you love Hakafah, which I just know you do, and more about what about this is more about a question about you in your Jewish lives. Why join now at this point in your life?
To be honest, what it was is I felt as I was getting older that I thought it was maybe time for me to, well, how could I put it? Be closer to God, knowing that in so many years, I won't be here. And I thought maybe it's like making up for the time that I did not attend, I was not religious, or I didn't believe in that much. So friends of ours who have since passed away, the Minoviches, I don't know if you remember them or not, they more or less talked about you.
No, Sharon and Jean.
Oh, Sharon and Jean Catan,
Yeah.
Talked about you. And
and they invited us to go with them to high holiday services.
Mm-hmm.
They had gotten tickets for us. And we really enjoyed it. We enjoyed you. And so the congregation's very warm and inviting. So we decided that it's time for us to belong.
Right.
So now you've been here 4 or 5 years, and your idea was wanting to feel closer to God. I'd like to first of all know what that means, and then want to know if that's come true. I mean, do you feel closer, and what does that look like?
Well, it's more or less. It's kind of hard to say. It's more or less like a belief, more of a belief. Getting more knowledgeable about the religion when there was a big cutoff, even though I went to Hebrew school and all that stuff, it didn't really sink in. So I thought it was just being there and having more of a faith than I maybe did before.
What about you, Gayle?
I really just wanted to belong to a congregation, and feel more Jewish.
Yeah, she was kicked out of United Methodist. So, out.
You know how hard it is to get kicked out of United Methodist? You've got to try so hard. So
doesn't take
this is
real
true.
much.
Okay, so you belong to North Shore United Methodist Church where we have our offices. Now I know. And they're like, okay, we don't have to go anywhere. I get it. Okay.
Well, that's the first one. Then it was First Presbyterian
Well,
Church.
stop.
Also, we were kicked out.
No, seriously, it really, I think it's just a sense of belonging. And we have.
Yeah, plus when the time comes and we pass on, we want to have somebody that knows us, more or less, and can say something nice about us.
So wait a minute. I thought the last time we talked and we had lunch together, I thought I told you I'm going to sleep through your funeral. I know we talked about.
I knew you were going to say that. I just knew you were going to say that.
I know, because I told you last time. Of course. So we've been together now for just a few minutes, and you've mentioned that twice, if not three times. Are you really thinking? Are you thinking more and more about that? Has COVID brought that on more, or is it just a matter? I'll stop there.
Well, it's not so much age as is that, as time goes on, you keep reading about people that have passed away who have been part of your past. And then all of a sudden you realize that, hey, you know what? Time is getting short. We don't know how much time we have left, on the earth, and so when you keep reading about friends of yours who are passing away, people that you've known as you've grown up, who have maybe even been on television, it's realization sets in. And I think that's what, as far as I'm concerned, that's what I'm thinking about now, that you just don't know, how much time you have left. So you have to appreciate every moment.
What about you, Gayle?
I agree with Ralph. I really do. Every year it's 1 year older and 1 year less that you're going to be here. And like I said before, it's really a sense of belonging, and we will have somebody in our corner when the time comes. Right. I hope.
Sarah will definitely be there in that corner for you. I promise you. She's already told me. So you guys like to travel. I mean, what haven't you?
Yes.
What haven't you done yet that you put COVID aside for a moment, if we can? What haven't you done yet that you still hope to be able to do, or go?
Well, me, I would really like to go to Europe.
He wants to go.
I would like to go to Greece. I would like to go to Israel. But yeah, I think those are two places that I've always, I want to go to.
I would like to go to Israel.
Greece and Israel are basically the same. As just in one place you have falafel, and the other place you've got souvlaki. Basically, they're very similar in terms of the culture and what have you. Neither of you been to Israel? You haven't been to Israel?
No.
Why not?
No.
All the places you've gone.
No, we were thinking. We just never have. But we were thinking before the COVID that if the congregation was planning a trip, that maybe we're going to be retiring at the end of the year, and we thought maybe we would check into it and maybe go with your group. But unfortunately, this happened.
Yeah,
so,
the COVID. Yeah.
How does it feel to be retiring?
But otherwise,
how does it feel to be retiring? Tell us.
The thing of it is I was not for it because I thought I would be bored out of my mind. But because of the COVID and we've been home so much, it gave us a rude awakening of what it's going to be like. And I'll tell you the truth, I don't mind it so much.
What have you been doing to occupy yourself?
really basically stuff around the house, and Ralph and I go for walks every day when the weather is nice.
You know, and I'll work
And-
outside on
Yeah,
the lawn, you know, I have some rock gardens I take care of, and, you know, so, and still, we still work. Gail still works
well, just one day.
one day a week. I still work 2 days a week. So, you know, it's not that bad. So,
But at the end of the year, we are.
yeah, but we've decided now that at the end of the year, you know, timing is everything. So now with this going on and deciding to retire, you know, who knows?
So what do you have to do to take care of a rock garden? Isn't it just a bunch of rocks? What do you rearrange them every so often? What do you do?
No, not actually, because they're all different colors. So what it is.
You've been painting them?
Yeah, change, yeah.
Oh, that's good. You paint the rocks. That's beautiful.
People can't understand it as they walk by. They keep wanting to know how come I keep changing them, you know?
Now you both grew up in Chicago, right?
Right.
Yes.
You've seen Chicago through the arc of your life. How has Chicago evolved in your time? And what things that you see now do you like better? And what things do you like less better?
Well, in my case, you know, when I was growing up, all the segments,
I was going to say.
yeah, of society were concentrated in certain areas. In other words, there was a Jewish area, there was a Polish area, there was a Greek area, there was an Italian area. And so there was a lot of, as far as I'm concerned, a lot of segregation in growing up. And then eventually it started to, how do you say, neighborhoods started to change. And people started to move. So it got to be now where it wasn't as concentrated, you know, like in certain areas as it was when I was growing up. So things have definitely have changed.
Yeah, but I was born on the north side of Chicago. Our area was always very mixed. There was, you know, it was not just the Jewish people, the Gentile, we were all together. And I had a wonderful time growing up because of this was my own little world. Everybody knew me because I was born there, and I had all my friends there. So I didn't have the west side and the south side. And if you want to know the truth, I'm 76 and I have no idea about the west side or the south side, how it was. I only know now when I hear on the TV or the radio how many killings there are.
Yeah.
As far as the area themselves, I don't know them. I wouldn't have changed the way I grew up. I really wouldn't. I was very happy with the way it was.
See, and I got to see more of the city itself because I grew up on the west side, but I lived on the south side. I lived on the north side. I grew up with people that were considered more or less blue collar, and then eventually moved to the south side, which was very well mixed. I lived in Hyde Park. And then when I moved to the north side, there was a big shock for me because there was a tremendous concentration of more of the wealthier people up on the north side. So I got to see all, you know, more or less all aspects of people, income, how they were raised, you know, stuff like that.
So you married Gayle to marry up, is what you're saying.
Yeah, right.
Well, I had to find somebody that had money.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, you know.
He found the right person.
So even though, so Ralph, with you moving around a lot, those are west side and south side were very different experiences completely from the north side, as you just alluded to. And Gayle, with your upbringing, was it Albany Park or Lincoln Park that you were, Lakeview? Where were you?
Oh, no, I was on the north
Far
side
north
near
side.
Wayne and Devon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, okay.
Rogers Park.
Rogers Park.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Even though you were in a more diverse mix folks, and this is a question for both of you, were your friends more diverse, Gail and Ralph, moving around, or did you have mostly? I mean, for you, Ralph, it might have been German Jews versus Russian Jews, but
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
I'm asking Gail, was it a more diverse non-Jews, Jews, all friend group, or did you stick with your
My
own?
my friends were basically all Jewish. You know, I was friends with some of the people that weren't Jewish, but the majority of them were Jewish. And all through school, if I remember correctly, they were not so much grammar school, but when I got into high school, they were almost all my friends were Jewish. In grammar school, they were mixed.
Why? What about you, Ralph?
Well, on the west side, obviously, I grew up in a Jewish neighborhood, Jewish area.
Mhm.
All my friends were Jewish. The school I went to, I would say, was 75, 80% Jewish. When I moved to the south side, it became more diverse. In fact, there was a lot of Germans who lived in my area, African Americans as well. So it became more diverse on the south side because people started to start moving around. And of course, when it came to the north side, the school I went to was primarily Jewish, but the neighborhood I lived in was mixed, which I really enjoyed. I really liked that.
So did you hang with the non-Jewish kids when you were on the north side?
Yes, I did.
You
Yeah,
did.
I did. Yeah.
But you hung around with a lot of Jewish.
Oh,
didn't you?
yeah. Well, in
Sullivan.
school, yeah. When
Yeah.
I went to school, when I moved to the north side, I was involved, of course, with a couple AZAs back then. So as far as social activities, it was basically with Jewish kids. Yeah.
So that leads to my question then, because Gail, you talked about how you were used to having integrated neighborhoods because you grew up in an integrated neighborhood, and yet you only hung out with Jews. And so why was that? I mean, I kind of know that answer, but from your perspective, growing up in it, why was it that way?
You know, to tell you the truth, I don't know. We just kind of just hung out and became really, I'm still friends with the girls that I went to high school. Before the COVID, we meet for lunch once a month.
Hmm.
So we really did. We just clicked and stayed together.
What about you, Ralph? Why did you mostly hang with Jews?
Well, again, when I end up on the north side, again, I belonged to two AZAs back then. So, of course, all my social activities were with the Jewish kids. So it was basically more or less pushed into it. But as far as integrating in the school itself, I had friends that were, other than Jewish kids, but we didn't actually hang out.
Did you guys prefer your kids to hang out in Jewish circles, or did that matter to you?
No, never
No,
mattered.
not-
And yet they did. The
Yeah.
majority of Robin's friends in high school were Jewish, but it never bothered us. It never bothered us. at
I
all.
think what you got to look is back then. I think I hate to use the word segregation, but I think back then, again, the religions still integrated with their own. There wasn't like an outpouring of, oh, I have to make friends that are not Jewish.
Yeah.
You weren't, it was just something that was there at the time. So it wasn't like, oh, you have a choice. You could go through, the integration of having other than Jewish friends, or you could have just Jewish friends. I think it was just there.
Yeah, because even when our daughters were bat mitzvah, I mean, Stacy's bat mitzvah, she probably had like 90 friends at hers, and Robin had many Jewish friends at hers also. And we never pushed them, saying, oh, you have to hang with only Jewish friends.
Right.
We were very open with it. So, we never really.
Yeah. Plus, I don't think there was back then either any kind of like programs, that they would say, that when a program did come out, that it was integrated, that whoever wanted to volunteer. It was just that everybody still stuck together, and whatever was there is what you joined, so.
So, and from what I'm gathering, although Gayle, your experience was a little bit different, from what you're saying, I'm gathering that you've seen that integration, that assimilation, that integration happening more and more today.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think it's a good thing for the Jewish people? Do you think the assimilation and the integration is good, or do you see it as there being any potential drawbacks?
No, I, to be honest with you, I think we would all get better with each other if we knew what each of us goes through, how we live. So, and I think that's very hard to do right now, but no, I think it's better to know what's around you, what's out there, and not be inside your own bubble. You know what I mean? So no, I think it'd be better if there'd be more. What's the term? Integrating with each other, finding more about each other.
I can't see anything wrong with it, with mixing. I'll tell you the one thing that I don't like is where the news media keeps going black and white. I feel that if they didn't mention black and white and just mention the person, the world would be a much better place. That's the way I feel.
I'll tell you, what I find funny, Bruce, I don't know if this is relative or not, but every time you hear on TV or whatnot about a crisis or a car burning on the expressway or people caught in a fire, there are always people there to help the person that's in dire need. And yet you never find out to say, oh, what's their color?
Right.
What's their religion before they go in to help? This is what I really can't understand. Why we just can't forget about color,
religion,
how we think, what we think, that kind of thing. So that's what I can't understand.
Yeah, I mean, you raise a great point. We learned in the 1980s, if it bleeds, it leads, right? In the news.
Right.
And with the proliferation of social media and in cable news and 24-hour news cycle, you need more bleeding to lead. And
Right.
Also in the 1980s, we had a lot of racial kind of implications that if it bleeds, it leads, and the people that were bleeding happened to be Black, or they made a point of emphasizing when Black folk were the criminals. And so I agree with you that we need to get to a place where why can't we just accept people as people?
exactly.
And at the same time, I got to take a step back and say that'd be really nice, but we have to make up for 400 years in which African Americans
Right.
have been treated as 3/5 of a human being in our country.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's, the phrase, Rome wasn't built in a day. And if you think about it, our country is not that old. We don't go back that far. And it's going to take time, but it's going to take on the part of people, how they think, and this is going to take time. So it's just, I think eventually it may, get to the point where we're all one. But I don't know how long that will take.
Yeah, we won't be here to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, may you live to be 120. He sleeps as much as he does. You'll be okay. How long do Rumpelstiltskin last, right? So there you go. So
You never know. I can start a trend.
So-
You can see everybody at your server sound asleep.
There you
but
go.
That's good. But that's good.
I do see it all the time. You'd be surprised. So I want to go back to this, though. This sounds like I'm pushing for a different answer, and I'm not. I'm just asking. So this idea of us all being one, which I preach all the time, which I know, Ralph, you wouldn't know, but Gayle, you've heard me talk about preaching us being one. I actually agree with that. And at the same time, I think that there's a potential threat. And I don't know if by threat it's necessarily bad. And that is yeah, let's forget about color. Let's forget about religion. Let's forget about race. Let's forget. Okay, but that means let's forget about Judaism then. Because I mean, isn't there a give and take? Isn't there something lost in this idea of integration, that and assimilation, that we give away pieces of ourselves that make us who and what we are and add to the color of our existence?
Uh, I don't think that I think religions could still be Catholic people, Jewish people, Protestant people. I don't think that has anything to do. When I say people as one, I'm talking basically, if you want to know the truth, color, and I guess, people like neo-Nazis. And I just feel that people should just get along with people. I mean, if you have a black neighbor or you have an Indian neighbor, what's the big deal? And yet you'll find people, they're going to move away because this race is moving in.
That's
And
the
it
story of the
shouldn't
West
be
Side.
that way.
That's the story of the West Side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and I don't feel it should be that way. I think people should just get along. I don't think basically it has to do so much with religion. I'm Jewish. I'm proud of being Jewish, but my neighbor across the street, they're Catholic. I don't care. That's their belief. And, that's basically how I would feel bad if they didn't like me because I'm Jewish.
But I think you could separate it. I think because of you being black does not necessarily mean you're Catholic. Doesn't mean that you're Protestant. I mean, there's mixes all over. I think basically what it boils down to. I mean, if you see an African American, you're looking at them at the color. You're not all of a sudden. It's a possibility. Listen, they could be Jewish.
Do you know what percentage of Jews in America are people of color?
No.
Probably more than I would think. Yeah.
Anywhere between 12 and 20% of Jews in America are now Jews of color, people of color. That's to your point. That's to your point.
Yeah.
And so you're right about that. And at the same time, it was of the last century, the biggest tragedy. I mean, the biggest challenge to the idea of race and religion and what have you happened in Nazi Germany, which they weren't going after African Americans, which they were, but it was more about the Jews, right? So the fact that you've got this comfort about religion, Gayle, and it more focuses on race for you, when in fact our history has been one of people really not liking us because of our religion.
Right.
I find that is an interesting evolution in and of itself.
Right.
So for you, if 100 years from now we come back, and we say hi to Ralph and we wake him up, 100 years from now we wake up and we come back, and it is in a post-racial America, and it's in a post-religious America, and of course you can be Black in American or Jewish in America. You don't think that there's something? Is there going to be something uniquely Jewish in 100 years in America?
Uniquely Jewish.
Yeah, I mean, that makes us us. I mean, corned beef. I don't know. That's even Irish. I don't even know. Give me something. I don't know. Chopped liver.
I don't know. I really don't. I wouldn't think so. I would think that each segment of society in the world, maybe in 100 years or whatnot, I think still people would still have their own religion. They would still have their own beliefs. I don't think one would be more unique than the other. I still think it would basically be the same. I think the only problem we would have is maybe the acceptance of each other in the way we believe, and what we believe in. That's the only thing I could see. I don't think it's going to change, honestly, that much, even in 100 years. I think it's basically going to be very close to it as it is now.
Well, I would just hope that the Jewish people and all people would remember the Holocaust, even though it's getting less and less now about it. I think it's something that should never, ever, ever be forgotten. And I think it should always be brought forward. Um,
Hmm.
I would hope that the Jewish religion would remain.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that as far as it being unique over another religion or anything different, I think I think it'll almost be the same. I really don't think even in 100 years from now, I think it's gonna take more than that. It's gonna take longer for, and who knows if it'll ever happen. I really don't know.
How do you think it'll be?
I really don't know. That's that's why I asked. On one hand, I'm part of a movement, the reform movement, that was believed that you can be assimilated and unique at the same time. And I think that we found the challenge of the assimilation is to keep that uniqueness, not the chosen. It's not the special in a way of superiority, as much that maintains a meaningful link to our traditions, our texts, and our people, and a sense of peoplehood. And I don't know that I don't know what's going to be like in 100 years. I don't know if we will have
Yeah.
succeeded or not. I don't know.
No, I don't think it, again, I don't think it's gonna change that much. I still think there'll be, I don't know if the word jealousy is the right word, but I still think there's gonna be divisions. I think there's still gonna be separation. It's gonna take, I think, maybe our great grandchildren, maybe, to decide what to do, and how to handle it. But honestly, I don't think it's going to change that quickly, even in 100 years.
Thinking back over the course of your time here in Chicago and in America, was there a particular time in which you could look back, whether it be a decade or a few years or what have you, in which you felt that it was politically comfortable, that it was one of those the good? Is there a good old days to you?
I think there was, growing up, I think there was a comfort level that up to a certain age, that when I grew up on the west side, of course, I was, again, I was brought up Jewish, went to Hebrew school, fell asleep once or twice there too.
Tradition.
Maybe that's why I went to 8 years in Hebrew school. I don't know. But anyways, no, I think there was a definite comfort level, growing up, because again, our parents, or I should say more or less my mother, kept me within that bubble, because my parents were very different from each other in the way I was brought up, the way their thinking was. So I had both sides of the spectrum as far as that goes. But no, it was very comfortable because you're within that bubble, and I was not exposed. And I don't think any of us were exposed back then as to what's going on now. There's a total difference, big difference.
What about you, Gail? Is there a time when you think back to is there a good old days in your mind?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. When I was growing up, because like I said before, we lived in a small neighborhood, and my mom used to work at the bakery. And so everybody in the neighborhood knew us. It was very comfortable growing up. You would walk down the street and everybody was saying, hi, how are you? How are you? What are you doing? And you didn't have to worry. Now you're lucky if you know your next door neighbor, because everybody's so busy and so involved. We didn't really have that.
Yeah, don't forget too, Bruce, back then when we were growing up, when we were small, we did not have access to the big city like the kids have now. I grew up, I was the first one in my entire family that had a car. And that was until I was 16. So there was no real way for us to go and see the outside world. Our world was the west side. You know, you either lived on the west side, south side, north side. That was it. There weren't dozens of neighborhoods, you know? So we didn't have access to the outside world.
The co-founder of the Jewish Council on Urban Affairs with Rabbi Marx was Lou Kreinberg. And Lou Kreinberg taught me that the number one invention that destroyed the small town, the small neighborhood feeling that you're both talking about. You know what? Take a guess at what it was.
The car.
No.
No.
And it wasn't television. And it was, take a guess, Gail.
I don't even know.
Air conditioning.
Air
Conditioning changed America for two reasons. Number one, it took people off the stoop. So much about the neighborhood was about people being on the stoop. And you growing up on the west side, I don't know, Ralph, if you ever spent your summer sleeping out in the park.
We slept out on our porch.
Okay, so Gail, I don't know if it was on the north side because yes,
we didn't have air conditioning, and neither did our neighbors.
No.
So,
We would sleep with a small little oscillating fan, so
Okay.
we didn't have air conditioning.
Right.
so air conditioning, one, took people off the stoop, and number two, allowed big box stores to be built.
Oh,
So
see,
that
that's
small
right.
town America. So for those I thought it was a fascinating analysis, right? So much about progress that we look to for all the wonderful things, because God forbid if folks didn't have air conditioning, has also come with a cost. And we're
Yeah.
seeing that with social media, right? We're seeing that with Facebook and with
Right.
all this stuff that I refuse to be engaged in, except for Hakafa,
Absolutely.
because there is a positive, but it also comes at a cost. And sometimes the costs are bigger than the benefits, and we find out too late. I don't know.
Well, you know, the funny part is when you mentioned that is that on the stoop and like here, when we got real hot, there was no air conditioning. We all sat on the porch and we got to talk to our neighbors and till about
Exactly.
2:00 in the morning. But another thing was that, you know, we were back then able to keep our doors open, keep our windows open. And when we tell our children, this is the way we used to sleep and this is the way we used to live, they look at us and say, how can you do that? You know, it's impossible. That's what I mean by being in our own bubble and being safe. We were able to do that.
So, you know, I got to know Robin. It's been 2 years since the wedding, or 3 years?
A year.
Yeah, a year.
It's only been a year? Oh my
Yeah,
God,
it seems
little
like-
over.
It seems like forever. What?
Yeah.
It's only been a year?
Yeah.
I still crack up at the fact that I was getting the thing set up for it, the tripod, and I turn around, you guys were like, the wedding started already. I'm like, oh my God.
I'm not ready.
So I got to know Robin. I don't know Stacy. I got to know Robin through that process. I without divulging anything we talked about, what I will say is she really likes you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, she
well,
really likes it. She really likes you. And not only that, Ralph, she said that it wasn't exhausting having you as a parent growing up. She actually loved that. So what you guys do?
extremely-
Listen, she still gets money every week from me. As long as she-
What did you do right? What is it about that you guys did so right?
I let Gayle take care of her. That's what
No. Ralph is extremely close with both of his daughters.
Yeah.
He never hollered. I was the one that screamed and punished. Ralph stayed in the background, was Mr. Good Guy.
Oh, she likes you too. Yeah, she likes you a lot too. I didn't mean to indicate that she likes him better.
Yeah, no,
I didn't say
I
she
give her
likes him
more.
better.
no, we really, really have a great relationship with both of our girls. We really do. Unfortunately, Stacy lives in California, so we don't get to see her very often.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but they were a
a delight.
delight
Yeah.
to have. I mean, you know,
If you
it's-
have two children and have had as much fun, we used to go to the restaurant and we would sit there laughing and people would come up to us and say, it's so nice to see how much fun you're having. And we did this and we took them on vacations. We spent a lot of time with them and we would do it all again if we could. We really would.
we had the normal, you know, food fights, you know, throwing straws at other people. I mean, you know, the little things like that made life interesting.
Yeah,
you know.
they had a model of what it means to be a grown-up, I hear, is what you're
Yes,
saying.
God,
right?
yeah. See, that's what I mean. See, exactly. I mean, What more can you want? Look at me. Come on now.
I
What
do look
more-
at you. I know. I know.
And my eyes are not closed all the time. I have astigmatism. That's what it is.
So,
No, we did.
so you guys like to travel. I know
Yes.
that's taken a big hit lately.
Right.
As of late, it's been a lot of cruises.
Yeah, we haven't gone on cruises in a few years.
Yeah, we haven't gone in a few years.
And I wouldn't go on a cruise again. I don't
Because
think
they're
I
petri dishes or
will. Because of,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever, you get stuck on a cruise ship, you're stuck on a cruise ship.
yeah.
So we would just travel and go to different places, but
Yeah.
I don't think we'll go to a cruise. And
What's-
hopefully we'll be able to once this virus is over.
Do you normally travel with the Gutans, or is it normally, do you have a group, or is it you guys, or?
No, we
Yeah.
used to travel with a group and the Gatans, and the last few years we went, no, last year we went by ourselves. And I don't know if the Gatans are gonna be doing much traveling anymore,
Yeah.
but
Like anything else, you start off as a group, and as time goes on, you lose this one, you
yeah,
lose that one.
right,
So we're down to a precious few.
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
So, I've
But
asked
we
you,
have a good time.
I've told you every year, wherever you go, you're supposed to have a spiritual emergency and need me. Why haven't you
Yes,
called
you're
me?
right.
Why haven't you called me? And seriously, where's the most interesting place to which you've gone?
Interesting, or which one we like the best?
I don't care. You answer it. Go both
Well,
ways.
we went to Cabo St. Lucas last year, and we really, really loved it.
Hmm.
And that's probably where we would try to
Go back again, yeah, right. I
Yeah,
mean, because, we've been to a lot of places, in the States as well as in the Caribbean, and it depends what time of year you go to. Like like Stacy, our oldest, she lives in Mammoth Lakes, California. Well, during the summertime, the place is just absolutely gorgeous. It's a
Right.
postcard atmosphere. It's very, very small. It's really, really, really nice. So, each place has its own, nicety about it. So, yeah, but I think as far as where we've stayed and everything else, Cabo has been I think the nicest so far.
yeah, it was fun.
It was
a
it was
lot
very
of
nice.
fun.
Man, we went by ourselves, so that probably helped a little bit too.
Well,
You
because
realize
get
some of
to
the people you go with might be watching this. You
That's-
better,
no,
I'm
but
giving you a chance to take it
no,
back.
Nobody. No, the only no.
No, I think what Ralph means is that when you go by yourself, you could do what you want to, when you want to.
She's saving you, Ralph.
that's
She's
not-
saving you.
No, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
All right. So what's the most interesting place to which you've been?
I don't know. We always go towards the same type of places. Either
Yeah, where the
Mexico or
weather,
the
yeah.
Caribbean.
Yeah,
We go where the sun is in the winter.
I'm
That's-
trying to think as far as interesting.
We took the girls to Washington DC once.
Uh-huh.
Show you our luck. We get there, Truman passed away. Everything was
Shows
closed.
you how long ago it was.
But
Yeah.
everything was closed. We hooked up with a cab driver, and he took us on an all-day tour. He took us to where everything was. We couldn't get in, but he took us around to everything.
Yeah.
That would have been much more interesting.
So yeah,
But-
Rona and I, in 1988 in college, we took a month to go backpacking through Europe, and we started out in Amsterdam. And why do you go to Amsterdam? Not for the drugs. We went for the Rijksmuseum. We went for the Rijksmuseum. Is that what it's called? The Rijksmuseum, and for the Heineken Brewery. And darn it, it was Ascension Day, and it was shut down. My one day in the Netherlands, and it was shut down. Both of them.
Well, I tell you, what was
I get the
interesting.
pain.
Same
I get
luck.
it. I get it. I get it.
Where we were? Was it Curacao or the old temple?
Oh, yeah, we went to Curacao for our 50th wedding anniversary.
I think, yeah.
And we took Robin and the kids, and we went and we said, we're going to take you to the temple. We get to the temple 10 minutes after it
Yeah,
closed.
it closed.
We had seen it
But
when we
we've
were
been in,
there.
yeah, we've been in it.
But we wanted her to see it
Yeah.
10 minutes after.
But that was fascinating to be in that temple where, the floors are still dirt, sand.
And
and-
same thing in St. Thomas.
Yeah, that was a great sight to see.
Yeah.
It was something.
I just saw a video from their services actually in Curacao. I was looking up stuff for Simchat Torah. It looks like they got a good gig going there. Some nice stuff.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
very,
they
very
do,
nice.
yeah.
But it
Yeah.
was unfortunate that we couldn't take the
The
kids.
kids,
and-
yeah, to see that.
Yeah. But maybe one day.
Yeah.
Okay, I got two more questions for you. Number one, how were your high holidays?
Quiet.
Yeah.
Very nice.
We saw the services. We did watch your
We
services.
felt that was great. Whoever
Yeah.
put it together,
Did a very good job.
even with you speaking, it was really good.
I was about to say, hey
mean,
Ralph, how was your lunch on Yom Kippur while you were watching in your pajamas?
No, we do fast.
No,
We do fast.
no, I might have snoozed here or there, but nothing's changed.
Yeah, but it was, we normally get together with the Gatans and our family and their family. We didn't do it this year. We did get together, just Sharon and Jean and Marcy and Ralph and I, we broke the fast together.
Oh, nice.
But that was.
I wanted to ask you a question. How did you feel about it being viral versus
You mean
us
virtual?
being
You mean
yeah,
virtual?
I mean virtual better. Yeah, than being
All I'll say is that next year when we're back in person, God willing,
Yes.
we're not going to live stream it because we don't want everyone to think that they can stay at home and watch it instead. There was something about, we're finding that 2 dimensions aren't the same as 3 dimensions. So the ability to be in 3 dimensions, I was about to say to you, as you were mentioning the Gutans, one of the things I missed most about being in person is that the Gutans get there like at 4 a.m. Right. So you walk in there, the Gutans are there saving you guys your seats, and you guys are, so there's certain things that you look for. There's those traditions, the traditions that have nothing to do with the service, but everything to do with the community. That you just can't get online, right? So I miss the Gutans being there 6 hours ahead of time, right? And I missed all of you. I missed all of you in people, and just being in person. Did you find it stranger being online?
I did. I missed seeing the people. We don't know that many of the congregants, but the congregants that we do know, I miss seeing them to, say hi and wish them happy holidays. And I miss seeing you and not getting my kiss and, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like you say, God willing, next year we could all be together again.
Yeah.
Last question. Are we going to finally have our chance to bowl together when COVID's over?
As soon as it's done.
I'm so serious, because if anyone is going to get me I told you when we had lunch, my goal in life is to earn a bowling shirt with my name on it. And if I'm going to get it from anybody, it's with you guys. So only if you promise me that when COVID's done that we're going to do that.
Yeah, but I'm not going to promise you what I'm going to put on the shirt. No promise.
Oh my God. Hey.
But we'll have to also go to lunch this time. And this time you have to bring Rona.
Yeah.
Well, she won't bowl.
Well, I don't know if I'll bowl either, but I'm a great watcher. But we could all go to lunch.
There you go. Amen. Amen. Hey, thank you for taking the time. I really hope folks get the chance to get to know you a little bit and spend some time listening to this, because as I told you last time, and I tell you every time, I absolutely adore the two of you. And I love the laughter that we have. The laughter, you alluded to it with your family. The laughter that you bring into this world is so incredibly key. It is so incredibly key. And there's very few people I know that just have a life of laughter. And so I really, the laughter and the joy that you bring in my life is just, it's manifold. And I want to thank you for that. So I need a good shot in the arm every so often and get my Kipnises. So
we'll be here.
Anytime you do, we're here
anytime
for
we're here,
you.
just not between 1 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because that's when I sleep. So other than that, I sleep a lot, as you could probably figure that out.
I got it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to say take care so long. I hope you
You
all
too.
enjoyed it, and we'll see you next
We
time,
did.
the
we
next
did.
episode.